Hey, hi, hello. I hope you're doing well. I know I'm doing pretty well at the moment, which is why I'm in a good mood to do a voiceover this time. I was trying with the last build that I did, but I found that I was just struggling with it as it being my first time recording a voiceover, so I'm like, okay, let's try the next one. So here we are, taking a leap, taking a risk, and we're gonna do it. I'm going to be honest, this is my second time recording the voiceover because I realized that my mic was muted. I got about 15 minutes in, thankfully not the full hour, and realized, okay, my mic is muted. So we're just gonna try it from the top, but this is good, you know? I got a lot to say. So this build, I wanted to start a sort of save file, which is something that I've never really done before, but I enjoy building realistic houses in The Sims, and I was like, why not make it and then share it with the world? So we're giving it a shot. This first house is inspired by somewhere near where I live, something that I've seen before. And I looked it up on Zillow, and I was able to find the whole house and the floor plan, which was a big plus. I really do enjoy building floor plans, but I think referencing real ones helps me to make more realistic floor plans, so it's always good to keep learning, how things are in real life, just to see the way they translate into the video game universe, or the Sims universe, and the way that they translate into Sims proportions, which are not always the most accurate to real life. But this save is going to be kind of New England inspired, but not New England, like what pops to mind when you think of New England, which is like the coast and Cape Cod and stuff and the ocean. Just more suburban New England, which is what I'm familiar with, which honestly just looks like about anywhere else in the US. But I enjoy building things that are familiar to me, so I figured this was a good place to start. I usually do a garage with my buildings because I find it realistic, but this one had a cool overhang on the side where you can park your car underneath, and I was like, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna do that instead. I really like the color scheme for this, just kind of like a pale cream color, and then the bright red door and the red columns on the side. I think those go really well together. This save is going to have some CC in it. I debated that for a while, but recently I've been really enjoying building with CC. I was kind of inspired by Ocean Sims, actually, who is another creator on YouTube, and recently her PC died, which rest in peace, because I would have a breakdown if I lost all of like my saves and stuff. So that's a good reminder to back up your saves too. But no, her PC died recently, and when that happened, she started over and did a lot of like vanilla gameplay. Just no custom content, no mods, and I was really inspired by that, so I copied her, and I deleted all my CC and mods, and I was playing that way for a while. And honestly, I find that when I play just vanilla, it inspires me a lot more, and it makes me a little more creative, like in both build by and CAS, and gameplay, honestly. Just like having to work with what's there is really fun, and it's nice to like cleanse my game for a little bit. It just kind of cleanses my creativity too. But I can't help myself, of course, so I got a little back into CC. Just a lot of like realistic stuff. A Winged Llama is one of my favorite creators, and I'm sure that name is familiar because they made the Nostalgia CC pack, which I feel like I see a lot of people using. When that came out, it was like boom, that's a classic right there. Nostalgia CC. Especially for me, I really love to build more realistic builds and just not perfect and clean, totally clean, and everything is like well manicured, basically. Like I know personally when I was a kid, like I would go to people's houses and I would specifically look for things in their home that weren't perfect or that were a little messed up because it just made me feel less embarrassed about my home and just like living in an old house and feeling like, oh, I'm not clean enough, or just feeling insecure about that. That's why I like to build realistically the way that I do. And just like not everything is perfect all the time, and that's okay because it's real life. I mean, this is The Sims, but real life is real life. I feel pretty confident with the way that I cluttered up the house too. I don't think I overdid it, but I also didn't underdo it. I'm more proud of this build than my last build. The last one I did, I got kind of irritated, and so I rushed through the entire thing because it was a way bigger house than I'm used to. And starting off with that as my first post was like a little overwhelming, but we made it. I didn't do a voiceover because I was struggling with that, but here we are. We're trying it out right now. I've also really gone into debug landscaping, which I didn't used to do before because debug also overwhelmed me. But with the help of Twisted Mexie's Better Build By, which I just kind of found out about, I've been trying to explore it a little bit more because that mod has a lot of filters and options you can turn on, like always having bb.moveObjects on, and the other one, what is it? It's like, ignore gameplay unlocks entitlement. That one, there we go. I figured it out. They also have these settings you can turn on where it's just like with the click of a button you're in debug or live edit mode. So I found that really helpful trying to get into debug landscaping because there are a lot of plants in there that are like, wow, this is almost better than what we have in just like the base game. But here I'm starting with the floor plan, and luckily enough I had a reference. I do really enjoy floor plans though, like without a reference, just from my own brain. I find it really, it's like mentally challenging, I guess. It's like trying to put together a puzzle, and I think it's nice because you can be creative about it and just figure out, oh, does this fit here? How can I make this work? But that's what I did for my last build on the channel, but this one I did have a reference, and I really like the way it turned out too. So I'm happy that I did. It looks like I did that layout really fast, but I promise you I spent like half an hour on that trying to figure out all the proportions and make it right. But we can just edit that stuff out. I'm sure this video would be super long if I kept in all my indecision. Originally I was trying to have the basement stairs like right off the side entrance to the house in that little like alcove, but I couldn't make it work without the basement like messing up the terrain outside. So I moved the stairs to the living room, or like the first entrance of the house. You can see where I'm putting them right now. So that was a little bit of thinking I had to do on how to fix that. But I think it turned out fine, honestly. I was struggling to find the right wood tone too for the doors and the floor. Like, you'll see me change it a couple of times. I wanted it to have that like honey oak color that is just everywhere in older houses, that I'm really familiar with and is nostalgic to me. So I was trying to search for that perfect wood tone, and eventually I land on something that I'm like, this is good enough. The first room I did was the bathroom. I think I furnished the entire thing before the rest of the house because I got kind of carried away and inspired. But this is where I started using some of the Winged Llama stuff, like the Nostalgia bathroom set, which I am obsessed with. I love the shower. I love that it doesn't have a back, so I could include a window, which you might be like, why is there a window in the shower? That's like really weird. But for some reason in my bathroom, where I live, there is a window in the shower. And it's not even like a small window like I use in this build. It's a full regular sized window. But it's just always been that way. And we use like a shower liner, the plastic shower liner, to cover it up. So I was kind of surprised when I was looking at the floor plan and I was like, hey, there's totally a window in the shower. And I was like, cool, I'll include it because that is funny. And my bathroom is the same way. For the cabinetry here and in the kitchen, I'm using a lot of older looking stuff and not necessarily stuff that looks like refinished, but I really enjoy that. I know the topic of kits is kind of like a tough subject in the Sims community, but all of these clutter kits I'm obsessed with. Like the bathroom clutter kit and the everyday clutter kit are like must-haves for me now. And actually, coincidentally, while I was recording this, the restoration workshop kit and kitchen clutter kit both came out. So like halfway through me building, I exited the game, went and bought them, and then went right back in. And honestly, the stuff from those kits really surprised me with the quality and the detail. I feel like the Sims team is getting really good at including like a level of detail that wasn't always in the objects and in the cast. But like the workshop stuff having a lot of like messy swatches and then clean swatches. And the kitchen clutter kit had those as well. It also had a couple of like functional items, like there's a cookie jar and a cereal box and like a lunch box where you can click on it and it will say like get a cookie or like grab some cereal. I think it's really cool that they're implementing some like small gameplay into these items. It's like there's a lot of care put into this and I really respect that and I think it's really cool. And then it feels worth it to me spending the money on it. I used a lot of clutter kits. And if I ever do upload the save file, and when I do upload the builds on my Patreon or my Google Drive, I will include the CC in like a folder for download. And then if I did release the save file, I would try and make one that's like CC free and just replace things in it, because I understand that not everybody can use CC, and I want to make it accessible, like as accessible as possible. So next I picked out wallpaper, and sometimes I like to do colorful wallpaper for each room, but this time I was feeling just the blank everywhere. You know, move-in ready. But here we are, I'm starting on the kitchen next. I'm using a winged llama again, surprise surprise. Their kitchen set, I think these ones are the vintage counters, and I like these because they're like, I like the older style of these ones, and then just the plain white countertops I think is really cute and realistic. So I was trying to fit the dishwasher. I wanted to do the smaller one, but it wasn't really working out, and I think I change it later. I really like the small dishwashers, but I don't like how they have to go in the big cabinet. I wish they could go in the cabinet that's like a half tile, the end piece. I think it would just look more realistic that way, because like when you put it in the big cabinet, it kind of like, it looks like it's just like cutting into it. It just looks kind of weird in my opinion. But I change it later on, so it's all good. I went ahead and paused the recording while I got a bunch of kitchen clutter, because it takes me a really long time to go through the entire catalog and like pull everything that I'm going to use, so I just set it off to the side and like grabbed it all off camera so I could continue with the build and not have the speed build be like a million years long. In the corner, I did this shelf from Cats and Dogs, I think. It's like a little corner shelf, and if you slot it into where the counters are, it kind of just looks like it's built into the wall, and I think that looks really cute. I like the little decor on it, like the sailboat and the plate. I think it's really nice, and I like to do that sometimes in older houses. I also specifically for this build went and downloaded this pantry pack by Pierre Sim, which is really helpful like trying to clutter up kitchens, because I do enjoy building pantries. I think they're super realistic, so I did want to include that. And there's a space in the floor plan specifically for a pantry too, so that's the little door like to the left of the stove. And so I just filled it up with stuff from that pack. It has a lot of like cereal boxes, this really cool item that's in like the top left corner. It's like a package of water bottles and sodas and stuff, so I thought that was really cool, and I put that in there as well. Which it'll show it pretty soon in the video too. I slotted the little phone and keys clutter from the Everyday Clutter pack into the coffee maker, so it looks like just keys, because I think this save file I want to be kind of like early to mid 2000s era, and not necessarily like modern day like 2024, or oh my god, it's 2025 now. 2025. But I really prefer building for like older eras. I don't know, I'm nostalgic like that, so I really liked this little cabinet in the corner. I think I slot like the grocery bag on it, and yeah, some more that like specific water bottle clutter item I was talking about. What's really cool about this grocery bag, I think it just came out in the kitchen clutter kit, is like you can click on it in game and it will say to buy groceries, which is so awesome. I feel like I always download a mod that's like a grocery mod from the phone where you can go just buy anything you need in game, because sometimes you need like specific food items to make a recipe. But I think it's really cool that they included that as a feature, because there is a groceries feature from Cottage Living, but it's like you order them and then someone delivers it to the house. So I like that there's this kind of like instant grocery thing that they just added. I was a little indecisive about the chairs. I thought the floral swatch was really cute, the like sunflowers and stuff, but I went with one that matched the wood tone of the table better in the end. And I always like to do the wine bottles on top of the fridge, because when you raise them up, they like slot perfectly on top of there, and I think it's really cute and realistic. Drinking game, take a shot every time I say it's realistic or cute. I feel like I'm saying that over and over again, but it's true. So here you can see where I'm starting to do the pantry. This shelf, the cans, the boxes of food are all from the pack. There's a couple of like dishes, like dishware, that's from the pack as well, because it makes it easier to clutter up a space while only using like a couple of items. Like the boxes and the cans are all like multiple cans but just one item, so that's really convenient. And I like the cluttered look, but it does also take a lot of time when you're trying to pick out specific things from the vanilla game to clutter up your spaces, so that's kind of why I went back down the CC route, because I really enjoy it and it makes my life easier. Yeah, there are a couple. One thing I really always try to include in my builds are closets and like pantry type spaces. Like I usually try and include a closet in every bedroom, and then also kind of in the entryway, like a place for you to hang your jacket or put your shoes away. And sometimes I'll use the closet item from A Winged Llama's nostalgic bedroom set, I think is what it's called. And then other times I'll just make a little room and then put an arch or a doorway and then cover it with a curtain and stuff a bunch of clothes in there. That's another thing I will always try to do in my builds. For this house, I tried to use a lot of older looking furniture, like that little cabinet on the wall is just very retro to me. The cabinets as well, like the counters and stuff. I use the gallery a lot too for when I'm searching for specific debug stuff. which maybe when I know my way around debug a little better I won't have to do, but you'll see me go into the gallery a couple times looking for a specific item. But I put some fall decorations up and some Halloween cards in the little window. I'm not sure like what season I'm aiming for, or if I'm aiming for anything specific, but I just thought they looked really cute and they matched the color scheme, so I threw them in there. I also did a lamp right here in the window, which is cool because at night you can kind of see it shining like through the glass, and I think that's really like warm and inviting and stuff. This couch I am obsessed with. It's from a collab by Ocean Sims and 6am CC, but it's a sectional and it's really big, so it fills up the space really well, and it looks very comfortable, honestly. I feel like a lot of couches from the game, like from the vanilla game, like they look cute but they don't look comfortable to sit in. So I really appreciate that this one is kind of like big and fluffy, and it also doesn't look super new and modern, like it looks like something you've had in your house for a while. I included a little family computer situation with the really super old PC, which is just adorable to me and nostalgic, so like I said, I want to make this save sort of like 2000s inspired because that's just fun to me. Sometimes I'll even put like a cell phone override in my game to make everyone use like a flip phone or something, just because it's like cute like that. So I did switch to live mode here. Live mode, live mode, I don't know which one it is, sorry. But, so I brought a sim here, and her dog also is here. Just so it would be... Actually, I can't remember why I did... Oh, I know why I did that. So that if objects got deleted, they would be put in the family inventory instead of just sent into the void. So it's just more convenient if I'm building like with a sim on the lot. Usually I just start out that way, but this one I hopped straight in with a new save, so. Oh, something I also downloaded specifically for this build is that little star above the cabinet in the dining room area. I feel like I've seen in so many people's houses where I live before, and also on the outside of houses, and I think it's really cute, so I went out and looked for one. I think it's by Ravasheen, specifically for this build. But now that I say that too, I want to talk a little bit about the family that I think lives here. You can see me right here I was trying to delete, what is his name, Trashley, because he was really annoying me outside the front door, but we got him to go away. In my mind, I'm decorating this for a pair of grandparents. Their teenage granddaughter and then their child-aged granddaughter. I think the lore here will be that their mom is either in like rehab or something like that. And so her daughters have been living with their grandparents for a while, like maybe a good couple years, maybe longer. I picture the grandfather having been in the Air Force, so I included that thing from Strangerville that's like all of the medals and stuff because I thought that was really cool to have in the living room. And I put a bunch of pictures and posters in the house and in the basement as well that are kind of like, they got the airplane and the stars and the stripes and stuff. But I thought that was a cool idea. Like, retired older couple, one was in the military. It just feels real. I like to make Sims that feel real and they have like a lot of backstory to them. I left the picture frames empty, but I would definitely be open to filling them up with like wedding portraits, maybe a picture of the grandfather and his troop. If I could figure out how to take a picture like that, that would be super cool. I imagine that the grandmother is kind of like into gardening and stuff. She strikes me as the type of person who's like, she's very maternal, but she's also like no nonsense, but in the most loving way possible, if you know what I mean. I included the 2 backpacks. One is smaller for like the child age sim, and then one for the teenager. And I did put, now that I see it, I did put that little like baby shoes item up on the wall, so maybe these grandparents have been raising these grandchildren for a while. Actually, I think now that I'm thinking about it, I think my idea was they took the oldest granddaughter in when she was at a young age, and then maybe the mom got pregnant again, and so they sort of adopted the second baby, who's her younger sister, right after she was born. But I want to figure out that lore a little more because it's interesting to me, and I like that dynamic of like them being raised by their grandparents, but like, are they in contact with their mother? Are they not? Like, what are their feelings on that? I really like that when I'm making Sims, to give them just lore that feels real, and struggle too, like emotional stuff that impacts them, you know, as they're growing up. I did almost pick that bed from Love Struck. That's like the mattress and the box spring and the messy blankets. But then I was like, these grandparents really support their grandchildren. I think they would want them to have the best stuff they can afford possible. I was really struggling with the layout for this room. You'll see me going back and forth on it a bit. I liked the idea of having the dog bed in here. I thought the hot pink color was really cute, and just the idea that this girl like really loves her dog and loves to spend time with her. So you'll see me going back and forth. I did settle on this layout, and then I realized that the space I made for the closets in these 2 bedrooms, the teen's bedroom and then the grandparents' bedroom, I had the bed up against the wall, so I had to switch it around all over again, but you'll see, I figure it out. For her personality, I decided that she likes to draw and paint, maybe. I gave her that sketch pad with the little pen. I used a lot of stuff from the artist kit, the artist studio kit, I think it is. But yeah, that was like her hobby I decided on. That and the beaded curtains and the floral bed sheets, I feel like she's just a very artsy, casual person. She strikes me as like she's just like a cool girl too. Like, she doesn't try to be popular, but she's likable, I guess, by her peers. I don't know if I'm like explaining that right, but just someone who's really cool, chill, and easy to talk to, and she really enjoys art. I know a lot of people like that, so. And I tend to create what I know, so. See, I think when I'm trying to place the dresser, this is where I realize, oh crap, like this is where the closets are supposed to be. So quickly I put those in, and then I'm like, okay, well this doesn't work anymore, so. Just sort of shuffling everything around. And then I was trying to fit the dog bed here so bad. And I did try and size it down too, but the dog can't use it if it's sized down even just a little bit, so I just made it its normal size and shoved it a little bit into the desk, and I was like, you know what, let's just ignore the clipping. Because I want this dog bed right here. And sometimes it's gotta happen. I'm gonna pretend it's like really shoved up against there. I thought this heart nightstand was cute too, but I ended up going with something a little more simple and plain. Just this wooden one from the nostalgia pack again. And then I added it into the living room as well, just so it looks like it was maybe part of a set at one point and they moved it into her room for her to use. Then I went back onto the gallery again, and what I like to do is when I'm in the middle of furnishing a house, I like to grab just a giant wall with all of the paintings from in-game, because I find it really fun to look through there and put some art down that isn't really accessible from build mode, but is still really pretty. Like, I love that little ocean inspired picture. I put that above the TV. And then I grabbed a couple of paintings that looked kind of like they would be done by the teen, and she would have those in her room. Like the sunflower, I imagine she's painted herself, and then these two little blue portraits, I am obsessed with those. They remind me a lot of art that I would see people make when I went to an art school for high school, so it looked a lot like paintings I would see my peers make. And I thought it looked really cute, so I wanted to include that as like her sort of art that she's displaying herself. And I thought the black frame on the sunflower and the black frame on the little picture above her bed matched the bedspread really well. And I thought it was like a nice amount of contrast. I think her room looks like she made it her own. Like it's kind of like it's simple, but she made it into a space that fits her style, which is really sweet. Then I went around and made sure to add blinds and curtains and stuff, because somehow I always forget to add curtains and blinds. But these are also by a Winged Llama. These are like an absolute must-have for me, because these blinds are they're not so oversized like some of the ones from the game. Like we do have blinds in game, but they're just like ginormous. So I really love using those everywhere. I use them in pretty much every build. And even when I'm playing without CC, I will most likely be having those in my game because they're just such a must-have for me. Another pack that I really love for teen rooms is the high school years pack, especially for like the wall decor. I feel like that pack has so much cute stuff and like a lot of different styles that really fits well for teen rooms and makes a lot of sense to me. I liked the little photography collage on the wall, like the black and white photography. I thought that was super cool. I was like, hell yeah, she's into photography. So I also included that little clutter item that has like the keys and the rose and the Polaroid camera. And then something I also always like to put in teen rooms, and honestly rooms in general, is the piles of clothes from high school years. I like to put them like near the closet, as if maybe she was going through pulling stuff out for an outfit and then she didn't like what she was pulling, so she just threw it on the ottoman. Next I was trying to do a mirror, and I wanted the one that leans up against the wall, but it was kind of feeling a little bit big for the space, so I went back and forth on mirrors. I tried a couple different colors. I almost went with the CC one from Attic Window at Dawn, which was really cute, but it was just also a little bit too big. So eventually I landed on the regular wall mirror, and I put her makeup down right next to it as if she sits on the floor and does her makeup right there. And then I used the tool mod to kind of rotate it and then pull it back so it's leaning up against the wall. That's another mod that's like a must-have for me, is the tool mod, especially when building. Sometimes you feel like you can't get things to the right size or the right height. So it's really nice to just have in-game to be able to adjust heights and sizes and rotate things and just generally be creative. This is a little pillow set, but it's cool because the Sims will treat it as a chair and they can like sit down in it. I think it's by Sibulette. Sorry if I'm not saying that right. I like pronounce these creators' names in my head, but never out loud, so I don't know what's right. Just bear with me. Next, I'm moving on to the younger granddaughter's room. I put this little nightstand covered in stickers because I feel like when I was a kid, like me and my sister just covered everything in stickers, so I thought it would be cute if she still had some furniture that was just absolutely covered in stickers. I gave her just this tiny little wooden desk that I thought was adorable, and I was like, maybe it's the grandma's from her childhood and she passed it on to the granddaughter. I put the chair from City Living as well, the little painted one, the green one with I think it has flowers on the back. I thought that was also super adorable. I picture the grandfather as well being into woodworking, so maybe he made that and painted it and refinished it for her with a cute little design. I did swap the bed out for something with a quilt, kind of patchwork quilt, like maybe grandma made that for her as a birthday gift or something. And it matched the green of the chair too, which was nice. This rug, the purple rug, at first it was a little bit fancy to me, but I did really like the little outline. Looked kind of green, like it matched the bed a little better, so I was like, she can have a fancy rug, that's fine. I gave her as many toys as I could fit. Like, I gave her that barn dollhouse toy. It just sized down a bunch because those dollhouses are so huge when they're regular sized, and I wanted it to fit. But to me, that dollhouse looks like Legos or something, so I thought that was super cute. I also gave her the little baby doll or teddy bear, whichever one it is. I also put the little guitar manual in the teenager's room because I gave her a guitar and I thought it would be cool if maybe she was just starting out trying to learn guitar. I thought that would be a cool skill to build with her, and that would be some nice gameplay there too. I filled the younger granddaughter's room just totally full of books. I was trying to fit a full bookshelf for a while, but I just kind of couldn't make it work, so I put a bunch of books wherever I could fit them. I imagine that she really loves to read. She's kind of one of those kids who prefers to be on her own a little bit. Has a big imagination. Just sort of a quiet, independent kid, because I really resonate with that. I feel like I was a very quiet, independent kid who just liked to sit by myself and read. So I filled the entire top of her desk with books, put some on her nightstand, and then put some little book clutter around her room too. I think it's from the Comfy Gamer Kit. There's this little open book clutter that looks really cute, and we don't have anything like that in game, so I was really happy when that kit came out. I thought it had a lot of fun usable items, like that bookshelf I just placed too. And then this little stack of pillows is actually like a love seat. I think that's also by Attic Window at Dawn, and I love putting that in kids' rooms because I feel like as a kid it's fun to build pillow forts and stuff, and I know I would just build stuff and then have it laying around my room. Like pillow forts, blanket forts, that's just a very kid thing to me, so I wanted to include a little space that she's made for herself in the corner of her bedroom, like her little reading nook. I thought that was really cute. This room is kind of small, so I wanted to make it feel cozy and also just a space that she's kind of put together herself, with lots of, teddy bears and pillows and blankets and books. Just really cozy and comfortable, and just a little space to retreat to, I guess, at the end of the day, because everyone needs that, Everyone needs a space that they can call their own. So as I go around too, you'll see me hopping from room to room when I'm just scrolling in the catalog and I find an item that I'm like, hey, this would totally go good over here. So there is a little bit of jumping around, and I apologize for that, but like I said, I'm indecisive and I don't always see everything I'm going to use right away. So this little hallway space I kind of tried to keep empty because it's just a hallway and there wasn't that much room to put anything useful anyway, so I just put some clothes basket clutter, some art on the walls, and a little rug. And now I'm moving on to the grandparents' room. I wanted to have a little desk area with that pegboard item that's also from the Comfy Gamer Kit, but I wanted to set up a little craft area. I feel like the grandma's really into crafting and puzzles. Like I said, she probably made that quilt for her granddaughter. The little clutter thing from high school years is really good for that. It looks like I don't know what they're called, but they're like boards you use to cut fabric on, like when you're sewing and stuff. And I thought that really suited her personality. But in my mind, it's like, oh, where's grandma? Maybe she's in her room doing a puzzle or something. That just feels familiar to me. I did a simple bedspread with the blue plaid. I really liked the blue. That was giving a little bit coastal to me, like coastal New England, so I thought that was fun to throw in there. I added a couple of paintings, like the one with koi fish above their bed, and then in the living room there's that sort of beachy painting with the little watchtower or whatever it is. But You know, maybe in this grandma's perfect universe, she has an entire house decorated to the brim with just coastal furniture. But she's working with what she has, so. On the grandpa's nightstand, I put the little glasses clutter, and then I went into the gallery and I searched for like medicine. And I found this little cart that someone made, and they put a little thing of medicine and then the bubbles from City Living, actually, like the little bubbles you can buy from the stands. But that looked like a pill bottle to me, so I was like, that's pretty cool and creative, and I put that on his nightstand as well. On the grandma's side, I did, I think, like a little notebook, some sticky notes, and glasses. I like using that little notebook to look sort of like a budgeting book or something. Like she keeps track of the family budget in there when she's, you know, getting ready for bed. Just something to do in bed. And then I also put a little snack box sort of under her nightstand on the side, because I think I saw someone on TikTok or something like that, and she said that she had a little snack box near her bed because she was diabetic, and it was just something really easy to grab and then also hide from other people to keep them from stealing it. And I thought that was really cool, so I did a little thing like that under there. Then just a couple coasters on the side too. For the rug, I did something just simple. I wanted to keep this room just simple and calm, but with enough clutter to make it look like these are the things that someone has collected over their life, and these are the things that are like really important to them that they have in their bedroom. So I lined up some shoes for them. I know there's a shoe rack right by the front door when they walk in, but I just put shoes in kind of in each of the bedrooms as well. I was trying to decide on some curtains for them that were simple, but also showed some personality. So I ended up putting these cats and dogs ones, I think, in the living room. And then I just did some simple blinds and some blue and white curtains, which fit the little blue and white theme I had going on with the bed. It took a little to decide on a desk chair too, because I wanted something with sort of a pad, so Grandma could be comfortable while she worked on her puzzles. And then just some more picture frames all around that I plan to fill with pictures at some point, like just family stuff that makes it seem more lived in. And then here I go around and add hampers because I forgot I wanted to include laundry in the basement, but I didn't add any hampers anywhere. So I could fit them in the grandparents' room, but for the granddaughter's room, I just put one in the bathroom that I figured they could kind of share. And then some folded shirts, because Grandma is so nice and she folds Grandpa's shirts for him. That lamp is another item that I'm like obsessed with from the nostalgia pack. It's got a little cord on it that leads to an outlet on the wall. I just think that's so cute, and I love when creators put little outlets and wires on the stuff that they make. I think a Winged Llama does it with a lot of their CC. I just think it's so cute and realistic, and I'm the type of builder who like will go around and add outlets and light switches to every wall too, so I appreciate the realism. I made sure Grandma had a nice old jewelry box as well, where she keeps all of her jewelry that she's collected over her lifetime. And just some perfume and cologne and body stuff as well, on top of that little dresser thing, wardrobe thing. I didn't have to put dressers in any of the rooms because I included the closets, which is another reason why I always like to include closets in my builds, because dressers, they take up a lot of space. So now I'm moving on to the basement, which I'm going to turn into the grandpa's kind of workshop space, because the restoration workshop kit came out like while I was in the middle of building this, and I was automatically obsessed and wanted to build with it immediately. So I put a little stairway, some posts, is that what they're? Pillars, columns, there we go. Some columns around the basement just for support. And I was going to use that doorway, the sliding door from Island Living, I think, because I really like the slats and stuff, and like my grandma's house used to have a door like that, so I was taking a little bit of inspiration. But I feel like I've been wanting some decor like this, like the pegboard with the tools, the workbench, and the like carpentry stuff, the little cart with the wood. I'll place it down in just a second, but I love that kind of stuff, and I really enjoy building and construction, like in real life too, so it made my little heart happy. But yeah, there's the cart. Since it was on wheels, I thought it would be cool to slide it under the stairway, so I sized it down a little bit, and then that's where I put it. I debated fitting a sink in there, but the bathroom is literally right next door to the workshop, so I changed my mind, and I just put some like toilet and sink and stuff in the bathroom instead. I think it's really cool. I haven't played with it yet. The old fridge, the old oven, microwave, and coffee maker. I think it's cool that they included some gameplay with that, like restoring the old furniture and appliances. I think that's interesting. I did have to swap out the tabletop for some counters because unfortunately you can only place the microwave and coffee maker on an actual counter. I wish they made it so the little tabletop they made was a counter set and it was like had all the pieces, like the corner pieces, but it's fine. I just switched it out for a countertop. But like I said, I have the idea that the grandfather was in the Air Force, so I put some posters and like a little tapestry up on the wall. And then for the bathroom, I just did like an older style of toilet and sink, like these are the ones that have been there forever since the house was built. And then I included the laundry on the other side, just the washer and dryer. I didn't end up cluttering up this room too much, just put like some detergent on top of the washer and dryer. I debated adding a shelf, but I decided against it in the end. I used the little, I think it's from Laundry Day, that little light bulb on a string in all 3 rooms of the basement because it's cute and realistic to me. I also, for basements, like to do some black wallpaper. The one from Lovestruck is like super dark and it blends in the basement to like the rest of the void, I guess, pretty well. And then I also added a ceiling. I did the like kind of industrial metal one to maybe look sort of like wood rafters, like the kind you would see in a basement, at least an unfinished basement. And then I included the little dollhouse item that's like the mix match furniture blanket for sort of thing, because I think that's really fun to add into basements. It's cute to have something that they constructed themselves to play with. I added a nightlight as well to the youngest daughter's room just to avoid the monster under the bed thing. Which the one I put is like the moon and stars one, so I'm hoping that one works. I don't know if it's only the one with little animals on it that works to prevent monsters, but crossing my fingers, we'll see when I start playing in this household. I wanted to slot some postcards onto the pegboard as well, but any painting that you try and put on there doesn't really appear on the surface and it kind of just merges into the wall. But I just left it blank and I'm okay with that. I'm going around now and adding some last minute touches. Oh, I figured out I could put the postcards on the fridge, which a really cool thing about this fridge by also a Winged Llama, it's their nostalgic kitchen set, is that wall items will slot to like the front and sides of that. I thought that was a really cool detail. And if you want to try and put clutter on fridge when they're to like a vanilla fridge, it's really hard. You have to like delete the wall behind it so nothing snaps and then raise it up with the 9 key a bunch of times, and it's a kind of a nightmare. So I was really happy when I saw that things were slotting to that fridge. Then I'm going around and adding some outlets to the bathrooms, kitchen, bedroom, everywhere. And then after that, I do some light switches as well. If I'm making a build really detailed, then I love to include all the outlets and light switches everywhere. And I was really happy when they added light switches to, I think, their base game, but there's also some from the bathroom clutter kit as well, and the cozy kitsch kit. It was really nice when they added those because I would always download those as CC and I do have some CC outlets as well. I would love for them to add outlets to the game. Upstairs, I did the base game light switches, and then in the basement, I did these older looking ones from the Cozy Kitchen kit. Outside, I think I furnished the outside off cam, but I added some planter pots, a couple of cars, some are from Debug, and some of them are by Max 20. I included kind of like a shell of a truck too in the back, something maybe like the grandpa is working on restoring, or maybe he used some parts for his truck. I also did a boat and a boat hitch, and then I covered it with a tarp from For Rent to, avoid the potential rust that doesn't really exist in game. I did some hopscotch and the little marble ring too that's made of chalk, and in a second I'll use the tool mod and put them like on the sidewalk. I like to do that with those items specifically. I like having them in the neighborhood because then it feels like any neighborhood kids can play with that stuff as well. I was going to try and squeeze the bird feeder in somewhere, but I think I ended up not doing that. I did really like the little tiny pink flamingos though. But this is one of the cars by Max 20. I think I used 2 of them. I replaced one of the Debug cars with one of those cars. One for the grandma, who I think owns the white car. I like the little tree hanging from the rear view mirror in the car by Max 20, so that's why I replaced that one. And then the older green looking car I assume belongs to the teenage granddaughter, thinking maybe she worked a bunch and saved up for that car and it's really something her own that she bought. I'm obsessed with the bushes with the little Christmas lights too, but I wanted something taller for behind the chain link fence, so I switched them out. I figured maybe if I'm feeling it in the Christmas time I'll put them back, but for the last part of the video I'm just doing some extra landscaping that I didn't get around to at the start. I fenced the whole thing with this chain link fence and made it look like there's a sort of gate. The last thing I included was me building, I don't know if this is something where any of you guys are from, but there are these little libraries, which I think they're called Little Free Library, like the actual organization, but it's just a little weatherproof box of books that are free and anyone in the neighborhood can come and like trade them out, borrow one, take one, and then give books as well. I thought that the grandma would totally be the kind of person to have this in her front yard, so I put it together with just something from the Book Nook kit and a little bit of outdoor decor, like the tiny roof piece and the post with the light, and then I added some super sized down glass doors to protect it from the rain. And what's cool is that in gameplay, the Sims can actually take books from here. I want to test it with Sims from other households and see if they can borrow books from there too, but I think that would be really cool because then it's totally functional. As you can see, I put the little chalk circle that they play marbles in right in front of there. I thought that would be really cute, like a bunch of kids playing on the sidewalk. Eventually when I do furnish this entire neighborhood. If you made it this far into the video, just know that I really appreciate you sticking around, and I hope you enjoyed this speed build. You have all my love, and no matter what you're going through, whether you're having a great time or a little bit of a rough one, just know that I'm here for you. If you ever need a place to just come relax and have something on in the background or just watch me build a little bit, we can hang out. So this has been really fun, and I will see you in the next one.